anguish she's gone through. She said her son isn't a racist, and it's hard for her to hear how the prosecution has.
I don't think I'm going to post this, but just in case, if it's like a super exciting race or something.
But I don't think she offered.
I'm not going to talk during this. You're going to hear in the background Derek Chauvin. We're in a recess right now. He's going to get sentenced in about 15 minutes, and I thought.
I think we're all reliving that.
I do a race while I'm waiting for that. I want to hear how many. I'm going to guess 17 years. I think he's going to get 17
we'll talk more
years.
About
so he could face up to 30, and it's possible he could even get probation, but I doubt that he'll do that. So anyway, I won't be talking. I'm just going to do this.
George Floyd testify in those, or speak rather, in those victim impact statements. Two brothers, one nephew, and his 7-year-old daughter. George Floyd's younger brother, Terrence, made an emotional appeal. He asked Judge Mayhill to give Chauvin the maximum sentence. At one point, Terrence Floyd addressed the defendants who was watching.
I wanted to know from the man himself why. What were you thinking? What was going through your head when you had your meeting with him? Why, when you know he posed
green flag. Okay, you come your third time back.
How you going to reach to that? How you sleeping?
That's a good lap. Hope I can do that during the race. I'm going to get some extra practice in. I'm going to turn this down. I should turn the, you know what I am? I'm going to turn the engine sound down. Or the master sound down.
Extraordinarily painful because
I got a couple minutes.
It seems like she hasn't fully grasped that her dad isn't coming back. That they're not going to be able to play.
So we're going to turn. Oh, we're going to turn it all down.
And that is part of the healing process, going through the stages of grief. And that was one of the points that the prosecutor Frank made, which is that this.
I don't know. Is that loud enough?
Kind of suffering, this.
I need to hear.
Coping would be hard for any family after any relative died, but it was compounded by, one, the fact that it was a murder, two, that it happened during the pandemic. And
so we're really interested. I'm really interested in. A lot of people are interested to see how long this boy is going to go to jail for.
Into this cultural.
The prosecution actually wants probation,
and that they all of a sudden
he won't
saw
get that.
Their brother or their cousin or their dad used as a symbol for something bigger than
he's going to give him the maximum.
When they were
somewhere between 17 and 30 years.
And they knew George Floyd not as naive as a man. And I do think they came across.
I got a good setup,
really
but you don't have enough time to practice with it, so you probably don't want it. I'll send it.
One after the other, the four put together really packed.
I was going to pick what I got. I'm going to change it to it because I thought I was open last second and ran and followed. And I'm going to say
I thought it was striking that he didn't lean in.
I shared my setup, but if you're going to use it right now, it's going to give you trouble.
Not going to give probation. So you heard him. It actually sounded much more practical than he had in his.
I'll share my setup with you, but
it was
loose at the beginning.
From his mom,
it could probably
to highlight that he
get you into the ones range, 16-1, so I'll share that with you.
It's been hard on him. I thought that there were some efforts there.
I'm going to stick with what I got and hope for the best.
Nelson said, my client is always asking himself from conversations what if he had signed up to work that extra shift.
Yeah.
at Memorial
I can run
Day.
I haven't
That
run
call.
this in a really
And
long
similarly,
time. But last
you
time
heard
I
the
ran
mother,
this track, it
Mrs.
could run like
Valenti,
16
say,
threes for
you know, he
a good
agonized over this, he's
falling
beating
off.
himself up over this, and the reason that you
Hey,
had
if you-
them
Yeah.
saying instead of Derek
I'm
Chauvin
just a
himself saying
super late model because that's
Chauvin
what I've
doesn't
been
want to put
racing,
himself
so
in
you
legal
feel
jeopardy
like
when
crap.
these federal charges are pending. So they were trying to get across that there is this sense of remorse,
Yeah, I
but
was
it is much
in
less.
a much higher
it's
lobby
much
at that
coming
time,
from
though.
these
My
outside
ratings
players
took a
like
drop
you
recently.
than coming from the defendant.
When I was racing these things, like actually it would be like, I was sitting on like 2,500, but now I'm
telling the
sitting
judge
at 1,300.
that she hopes
If you could share,
that he
if
will
you could share that
consider,
setup with
the fact
me,
that she
I'd
will
like
probably
to.
not
I'll
even be
give it a
alive
try
once
too.
he's out of jail, if
Please
he's
share
given
with
the full
everyone.
sentence. And she also said that she still believes in his innocence. Let's watch.
Yeah, I shared it with everyone. It's pretty
My son's
edgy
identity
at the
has also
start,
been
but
reduced
it gets better.
to that of, as of
I'm gonna give it a shot. Screw it.
racist. Want this court to know that none of these things are true and that my son is a good man.
On a scale of 1 to 10,
Derek
how many
always
is it on the first?
dedicated his life and time to
Hey, you can
police
lose it and turn the
Even on
corners
the
pretty
days
easily,
off,
so just watch out for
He would
that.
call
But
in to see if they
honestly,
needed help.
Alright, I'm gonna take it easy for the first 20 laps, man.
as I said, this is my first race in a couple months, so.
Thoughtful, honorable, and selfless man.
Oh god, I'm starting on the inside too, so it's like if I do take it out the whole field, I'm gonna take this real easy.
The public will never know the loving and caring man he is, but his family does. Even though I have not spoken publicly.
If you can hear in the background, I got a stream open. I want to hear how many years Derek Chauvin spends in jail for that killing of George Floyd.
Derek has played over and over in his head the events of that day. I've seen the toll it has taken on him. I believe a lengthy sentence will not serve Derek well. When you
Good
sentence
luck,
my
everyone,
son,
be safe, and hopefully we
you'll
don't
also
wreck.
be sentencing me.
Derek Chauvin's mother giving a statement to Judge Cahill and to the court before the sentencing. which
I'm gonna
we
race, but it's
know
gonna
will
be
happen
clean.
Shortly, we'll go
Clean
back
as I
to
can.
Hennepin County Courthouse as soon as Judge Cahill resumes this hearing.
I'm gonna race as soon as
James
possible, but I don't know how that's gonna go.
Judges have to grapple with this, right? They are used
Well,
to
can't-
hearing
somebody can't
impact
get off the,
statements. They're used to
page
hearing
5.
family members or even the person convicted plea for leniency.
I've never ran this setup, and he
So
said
this
it's
isn't what
good,
he's
so
used
this
to
will be
hearing.
fun.
She didn't talk about and focus on the Floyd family and their loss. That was not the focus of what she was there to do today.
Number one,
but
what
it was
year do I need to be into
noticeably
this setup?
lacking, James.
It wasn't just lacking, it was
What'd you say?
striking that, you're absolutely right. She said, I still maintain and believe
Do I need to be in
certain
fourth or
that my
fifth year
son
with
was
that up?
innocent. Then she said that she's received
It's a
hundreds
fourth
of
year
letters
setup.
from people telling her that they also believe that Derek
Aye.
Chauvin is innocent. Eric Nelson said he has heard from current and former Minneapolis police officers.
I don't know how this is gonna
defending
go.
Good luck, everybody.
What
There's
that
a
illustrates is a lack
little
of
distraction in the background.
that they
I'm starting to
don't
regret.
think that he's guilty, and that was farther than she needed to go because ultimately it doesn't get to balancing, as you put it, the aggravating and the mitigating factors. And so I thought that kind of illustrated that they really don't think he's guilty, and something that is a relevant factor in sentencing is the remorse of the convicted murderer.
That's my
And
fault.
you could tell there at the end that Chauvin was trying to balance that by expressing condolences to the Floyd family without apologizing. But ultimately, we have not seen remorse for this 9.5 minutes of behavior that got him convicted and that caused an uproar across the world.
Let's go now to our colleague Joyce Coe, who's reporting from George Floyd Square in Minneapolis. So, Joyce, what is the scene like outside Coupe Foods as we await the sentencing?
You know, Libby, there are community members that are gathered sort of along the perimeter of this square, and I think everyone is just on pins and needles waiting to see what that sentencing will be like. I'm joined right now by Alexis Collins, who's an activist. Alexis, you've been out here on this square since day one, you say. What are you feeling today?
Well, if I'm not telling about leaders, I had somebody just jump out in front of me and had to spin it down to the inside of the
I just
building.
feel like today it's been a long process just to get sentenced, and I feel like everybody that been here on George Floyd, we're not going for nothing than 30 or less. Like, we don't want 15, we don't want 20, we need 30 as a maximum, because at the end of the day, it took a year for them to even do the trial, and took even longer for them to do the sentencing.
What will that be like if the sentencing is not 30 years? What will you feel? What do you think the community, how do you think the community will react?
I feel like the community will feel like everything we did for this year by building forts, getting shot by bullets, getting mace, getting pepper spray, all that stuff, we feel like nothing. Because it was just the first step of getting convicted. It'd be the second step of putting him away for the time that he deserves.
Alexis, you were listening in on the court
great
today.
check, I run right into
You were talking to the other activists. You heard Derek Chauvin's mom.
I'm nervous as hell. I want to win this race.
A selfless man, that he was compassionate, that he's a good man. What is your response to that? What were your thoughts when you heard that?
Well, my response was first.
I don't know what the hell he was thinking.
Came on TV, have not been at the.
I don't know how he didn't hit me.
The whole trial, it was nobody that really came to support Chauvin until the very end. And for his mom to just
why'd you do
now
that?
that he's getting sentenced,
I gotta get around him.
I feel like she just wants pity on him when she could have been apologized to the family when it first happened, just not right now.
It's my dream they have an A or B class for these cars, man. Tell you.
Mary Beth
That's number
Albright,
3
what are
blocking
the next
and
steps
brain
here? What are we
checking the
watching
whole
for
race.
Judge Cahill to do
Unbelievable.
in the coming months?
Gives me an 8X.
Well, Judge Cahill is going to decide exactly.
Hey, reporters, they'll get him for blocking.
What are the consequences to
I mean,
Derek
it's
Chauvin
like literally
for
brain
murdering
checking.
George Floyd? We've seen for the past 14 months the consequences for the country. We've seen the consequences on in our cities. We've seen the consequences all over the country, and now we're going to find out what those consequences are for Derek Chauvin. A couple of things that are really interesting. One is
I'm going to use traffic to my advantage right here.
By Derek Chauvin's mother.
Hopefully.
Floyd.
It's either going to be an advantage or a disadvantage.
Dad and the idiots are out of school.
Have been given a life sentence.
He hit the curb. That should help me.
With Carolyn Palenti's statement, when you sentence
Oh, my car feels so good right now.
it really highlights the tragedy of this case. There's no winning this case, and so what Judge Cahill is
I would have turned him that block and be a real
in
driver.
fact, thinking about the pre-sentencing investigation that talks
I almost
about
lost
Derek
it.
Chauvin's life and his contribution to the community.
Yeah, I gotta just take a lap to relax for a minute. I was going for it and I lost it.
And he's balancing that with the sentencing.
Number one, I gotta hang him your head out so far. After the last one, it's going
by the Minnesota legislature, saying this is what we recommend. Now, something very important is that the judge can impose whatever sentence he wants. But on appeal, it has to be a lawful sentence, right?
Come on, number 3.
So, yes, you can just get probation. Yes, you can
race without colliding.
Years, but that sentence will be appealed if it's not thought of to be lawful.
He's a leader,
so
I think.
He's bringing all those things into account, sitting in his chambers.
I think I'm fighting for the lead right now.
What is the right sentence?
Close to it.
What is the right debt for Derek Chauvin to pay for his murder?
I can't get around him.
Heard the prosecutors, Matthew Frank in particular, talk about what they believe are the aggregating factors. These reasons why the judge should go beyond what might be sort of the typical range of a sentence, and they went through what those factors were. I want you to talk about those with us, and also it seemed like he was being very careful to say that they don't overlap, but they come together, because in the sense overlapping might sort of make them a little less potent. But he's saying that they all kind of knit together to fortify.
I don't know where the leader is right now, to be honest with you.
30 years in jail.
Well, one thing was clear in the oral argument,
Excuse me.
Discussions that both the state and Chauvin's lawyer gave. Both of them believe that this is not the typical second-degree murder. Both of them believe
I don't know where the
that
first
this
place-
is not
I'm not gonna get to the
typical
first.
offender, right?
He's
the
gone.
typical murderer. Which side
He's
do you
in the
think that
traffic
falls
somewhere.
on? Whether that is for an upward sentence, which is for greater than the sentencing
Everybody's
guideline,
fast
or whether
that's
that
left
is for a
on the track right
downward
now.
sentence, which is lower than the sentencing guideline. It was interesting to
He
me
knows
that
I'm
the
in
state really
second, so he
chose
shouldn't push
to
me too
focus
hard.
on those 4 factors to get really granular about the events of that day.
I felt
and
him. He
the 4
touched
factors
me.
being the abuse of authority. One of the things that he talked about was you had custody without care, right? That you
He
had
touched
this man
me.
in custody, but you
Did I get
weren't
it?
giving
I don't know
him
if I got an
care.
incident for that. He
Another
touched
one
me.
was the particular cruelty of the crime. This
Light
gave the
touch.
state an opportunity to talk more about just how awful
you won't
it
be
is
getting this off line,
to
buddy. I
be choked to
promise you
death
that.
while you're lying on the ground and while your face is being rammed into the pavement. The third is that there were
The
children.
leader's not in my sight.
There was a 9-year-old present, and it's interesting because at one point Eric Nelson, in one of his briefs, said, Derek Chauvin's attorney said, well, they could have left. And, Judge Cahill didn't even recognize that argument.
I mean, just to pause you there, in other words,
That wasn't taking a position. The orange car shouldn't be pushing me too hard because all I did was lap him.
gunmen holding people
I think.
hostage or shooting someone in front of their children or something, that these were passersby unrelated to George Floyd who could have left. But we don't get a sense that the judge buys that.
We know that the judge didn't buy that because he's already issued a ruling saying that these 4 factors apply, that there were children present. He's not even talking about, like, these are things that call for an aggravated sentence. The judge has already said.
Ovals
yes,
are so
he's
challenging
going
because you got to do the same thing over and over again, and you got to do it.
So there's
You
going
got to
to
do
be
it.
an aggravated sentence.
And I cut you
And
off
that
on
there
the 4th one, so give us the 4th one.
You got to do it the same every
The fourth one is
lap,
that there were 3 or more
And that's not
people
easy.
participating.
right? Muscle memory has
And so
everything to do
it's
with
sort of,
ovals.
the idea, this is not.
I hope this
it gives
race is
the
over
idea of
before the
a
verdict
mob
is read because I
mentality.
want to watch
So
that live.
Any one of these 4
This is my break.
aggravating factors is enough to give a double sentence.
Yeah,
We have
I'm not
4
even
factors,
finding
not
anywhere,
just one,
buddy.
4.
There's
And
first
so
places
that's what
out there
the state
somewhere, but I don't know
really
where.
honing in on, that we really need a 30-year sentence. That was their argument.
I mean, I'm pushing as hard as I can, maybe a little too hard that lap.
Case pending, but Judge Cahill, this is
Bullshit.
his courtroom, right? This is his jurisdiction. This is what he is looking at and experiencing. So as we saw Derek Chauvin essentially not give much of a statement at all of remorse or defending himself or justification or anything,
10
he was
laps, 10
alluding
laps.
to the federal charges.
Take
against
second
him.
and be happy
But
with it because I don't
it's all
have
well
any
enough for
idea where the
Derek
leader
Chauvin.
is right now.
That's not the jurisdiction of Judge Cahill. That doesn't help Judge Cahill.
All I know is the leader's up there somewhere. Or could be behind me. Oh man, that's the 3rd time I do that spin. I am so lucky I'm not losing it. Oh my God, I don't want to lose it now.
But that federal case does linger over this.
I don't know, maybe I should stop pushing and just take the,
June 1st.
and just accept second.
In federal court for the beginning of that trial, so that does hang overhead here, but right now what we're waiting on is Judge Cahill to make a decision based on these state charges. So from what we've read...
Well, who's left on the track? Just me and the leader?
His thinking, he may fall somewhere in the
That's
middle.
probably the leader
There's
behind
also
me.
another important case that
I don't know.
talked about. It happened with another Minneapolis police.
Okay, he's in front of me somewhere.
A few years ago.
Just not in my rear. He's not in my windshield.
Shot an Australian woman who called. She reported that she was hearing sounds that sound like a sexual assault.
So the only thing that could, the only way I could win this race is if he makes a serious mistake.
He was charged with murder.
And the only way anybody's going to get third is if I make a serious mistake, and I'm not going to do that.
So if there is any
I
sort
hope.
of framework or any crystal ball we can look at, it could be that case.
All right, Rhonda, let's go now back to the courtroom and Judge Cahill.
Oh, he's doing a sentence right now.
Well, first of all,
And this is my first time streaming.
I wanted to thank everybody for being here and for providing the input.
You guys,
Not
Here's
just
the
the people who
sentence.
are in the courtroom here, but
Hey,
also
what was that?
written statements,
I was inside.
both from Floyd family and the defense family.
it's such an
I've
embarrassment
read
already.
all the impact
Wow.
statements that were submitted earlier.
It's all around.
How he didn't hit me, I don't know.
What a shit
I just
show.
truly appreciate it. That you took the time.
I got inside of the number 6 and he just like pushed me down.
I have reviewed the pre-sentence investigation.
I don't know how I didn't get hit right there.
But my comments are actually going to be very brief
I'm starting to just take it easy right now.
because
Just
most of
accept
it's
what
going
I
to be
got.
reviewed.
have a 22-page memorandum that is going to be attached to the sentencing. And why am I doing it in writing? To emphasize the fact that determining the appropriate sentence in any case, and in this case, is a legal analysis. It's applying the rule of law to the facts of an individual and specific case.
You know that's a protest, right? You just spun out second place.
On the record, I prefer that you read the legal analysis that explains how I determine the sentence in this case. What the case is, or what the sentence is not based on, is emotion.
Right? You know that's a protest, right? I am recording this
But
race.
at the same time, I want to acknowledge
So, yeah, you can't do that.
and tremendous pain.
Everybody put in their own protest for whoever was acting like an idiot that race, please.
You have our sympathies.
Right?
I
Unbelievable.
acknowledge and
Number
hear
16 learned how to drive.
the pain that you
One of
I'm glad I
them
recorded.
he goes straight down into it.
I'm glad I recorded.
but the
I'm not
funny
even
thing,
looking.
we're outside this courtroom.